Hello viewers, before we begin we would love for you to be part of our family. Subscribe today and turn on the bell notification. Now enjoy. The sun cast a golden glow over the quiet beach as Darasimi and Io walked hand in hand, their footprints marking the soft sand. The sound of waves crashing against the shore was soothing, a reminder of how far they had come. I never imagined we'd get here, Darasimi said, her voice filled with emotion. Io stopped and turned to her, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. You fought for this happiness, Darasimi. And you deserve every bit of it. She smiled, leaning into his touch. And you fought for me. He took a deep breath, gazing out at the horizon. The past doesn't define us. What matters is what we do with our future. And I want mine to be with you. Darasimi felt the warmth of his words settle deep within her. Me too. Io reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. As he knelt on one knee, the world seemed to pause. Darasimi, will you marry me? Tears welled up in her eyes as she gasped, covering her mouth with her hands. Yes. Io, yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger, and the crowd of people who had gathered at a distance erupted into cheers. Friends and family had been in on the surprise, waiting for the perfect moment to celebrate. As they embraced, laughter and joy filled the air. This wasn't just an engagement, it was the promise of a future built on love, trust, and the strength to overcome anything together. Darasimi sat on the balcony of their new home, the soft evening breeze brushing against her skin. The sky was painted in hues of orange and pink, a perfect backdrop to the peace she finally felt within. Io joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. Lost in thought, he asked, pressing a gentle kiss to her temple. She sighed, leaning into him. Just thinking about everything we've been through. It almost feels unreal. He chuckled. We fought for this, Darasimi. You fought for this. And now, we get to live the life we always dreamed of. She smiled, feeling the truth in his words. The past had been harsh, full of pain and struggle, but standing on the other side of it, she knew it had shaped her into the woman she was today. Inside, laughter echoed from the living room where their closest friends had gathered for a quiet evening of celebration. Ido and Tunde argued playfully over a game of cards, while Yatund and Nena prepared drinks. Darasimi watched them through the glass doors, warmth spreading in her chest. This was family, the kind she had built for herself, the kind that would stand by her no matter what. Io took her hand, intertwining their fingers. Are you happy? She turned to him, her eyes shining with certainty. More than I ever thought possible. He smiled, pulling her close. Then that's all that matters. As the night deepened, they joined their friends, laughter and love filling the space. The scars of the past would always be there, but they no longer defined her. Darasimi had stepped into a new chapter of her life, one where happiness was no longer a distant dream, it was her reality. Darasimi walked hand in hand with Io along the quiet beach, the golden hues of the setting sun casting a warm glow over the waves. It felt surreal, peaceful, free, and beautiful. After everything they had endured, she finally felt at home. I never imagined I would be standing here with you like this, Darasimi said softly, glancing at Io. He chuckled, squeezing her hand gently. Life has a funny way of bringing people where they belong. And you, Darasimi, belong right here. She smiled, letting the salty breeze play with her hair. The pain of the past no longer held her hostage. The fear, the struggles, the betrayals, they were nothing but distant memories now. In the distance, the laughter of children echoed along the shore. Darasimi watched them, their joy infectious. Io followed her gaze and grinned. One day, we'll have our own little troublemakers running around. She laughed, nudging him playfully. One day. But for now, I just want to soak in this moment. As the sky darkened into shades of purple and deep blue, Io pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her. No matter what happens, I'll always be by your side. Darasimi rested her head against his chest, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. And I'll always be by yours. With the ocean as their witness, They stood there, knowing that their journey was far from over, but finally, they were walking it together with love, hope, and a future brighter than they had ever imagined. Darasimi took a deep breath as she walked through the bustling marketplace, a place that once defined her struggles. She wasn't here to sell oranges anymore, she was here to give back. With Io by her side, they stopped at a small stall where a young girl, no older than Darasimi had been when she first started, arranged her fruit neatly. Darasimi knelt beside her, offering a warm smile. "What's your name?" "Ezin," the girl responded shyly. Darasimi reached into her bag and handed her an envelope. "This is for you. To help with school and anything else you need. You deserve a chance to dream beyond these streets." Ezin's eyes widened, and she looked up at Darasimi in awe. "Thank you," she whispered, tears forming in her eyes. Io placed a gentle hand on Darasimi's shoulder. "You're changing lives, just like you always wanted." She nodded, feeling a sense of fulfillment she had never known. It wasn't just about escaping the past anymore, it was about making sure others had the opportunity to do the same. As they walked away, the weight of her journey settled in her heart, not as a burden, but as a reminder of just how far she had come. And for the first time, she knew without a doubt that her story was just beginning. Today Darasimi and Io strolled across the streets. The chaos that had once ruled their lives was now a distant memory, replaced by a sense of peace they had both longed for. "I can't believe how much has changed," Darasimi said, her voice filled with awe. "Sometimes, it feels like a dream." Io squeezed her hand gently. "It's real, Darasimi. We made it through everything, and now we get to enjoy the life we've built." They had opened a small but thriving business together, a cozy cafe that had quickly become a community favorite. It was a place filled with warmth, laughter, and the delicious aroma of freshly brewed coffee and pastries. As they approached the cafe, Darasimi smiled at the sight of their staff busily preparing for the day. "Look at them," she said. "They're like family now." Io nodded. "And it's all because of you. Your kindness, your resilience, it's what brought us all together." Just then, a familiar voice called out, "Darasimi, Io." It was Efima, one of their longtime friends and a key part of their journey. She waved excitedly as she hurried over. "There's someone here to see you." Curious, they stepped inside, and Darasimi's breath caught in her throat. Sitting at one of the tables was someone she hadn't seen in years, her younger brother, Emeka. He had been lost to the streets long ago, caught in the same cycle of struggle she had once faced. Tears filled her eyes as she rushed to him. "Emeka, is it really you?" He stood, his expression a mix of emotions. "I heard about you, about everything you've done. I had to find you. I want to change, Darasimi. I want to start over." Darasimi's heart swelled with emotion. She had fought so hard to create a better future, and now, she had the chance to help the person she had once thought was lost forever. Io placed a reassuring hand on her back. "Then let's start now. You're home, Emeka." For the first time in a long time, Darasimi felt like every piece of her past had finally come together, forming a future brighter than she had ever imagined. Darasimi sat across from Emeka, studying his face as he sipped the cup of tea she had placed in front of him. He looked different, tired, worn, but there was a spark in his eyes that hadn't been there before. A silent determination. "I never thought I'd see you again," she said softly. Emeka exhaled deeply. "I was ashamed, Darasimi. I messed up so many times, and I didn't think I deserved to come back. But then, I heard about you, how you turned your life around. And I realized, maybe I could too." Io placed a hand on Emeka's shoulder. "It's never too late, brother. You just have to be willing to do the work." Emeka nodded. "I am. I swear I am. I just need a chance." Darasimi exchanged a glance with Io. The road to redemption wasn't easy, but she of all people knew that it was possible. "Then you'll have it," she said. "But you have to promise me, Emeka. No more running. No more disappearing. If you stay for good." Tears welled in Emeka's eyes as he reached for his sister's hand. I promise. Io smiled. Well then, welcome home. For the first time in years, Darasimi felt whole. Her brother was back, and for once, the future felt limitless. No more fear. No more uncertainty. Just love, family, and the promise of a better tomorrow. Darasimi wiped the tears from her eyes as she held Emeka tightly. She had dreamed of this moment for so long but never thought it would truly happen. Her little brother, the one she had lost to the streets, was standing before her, asking for a second chance. I don't even know where to start, Emeka admitted, his voice shaky. I've done things I'm not proud of, Darasimi. But I want to be better. I want to be like you. She cupped his face in her hands, searching his eyes. We all have a past, Emeka. But what matters is what we do moving forward. You're here now, and that's enough. We'll figure it out together. Io watched the emotional reunion with a warm smile. We have room for you here, Emeka. If you're willing to work hard, we can find a place for you in the cafe. Emeka nodded eagerly. I'll do anything. I just want to be part of this life. The cafe doors swung open, and Ifema walked in with a broad smile. Looks like this place is turning into a home for everyone who needs one. Darasimi laughed, her heart feeling lighter than it had in years. That's what I always wanted, to build something that brings people together. The next few days were filled with adjustments, but Emeka proved himself eager to learn. He worked hard, listening intently as Io taught him how to prepare coffee and Ifema showed him how to handle customers. The once lost boy was slowly finding his way again. One evening, after closing the cafe, Darasimi and Emeka sat outside, watching the sunset. I used to think the streets were the only place for me, he admitted. But now, I see there's more. There's hope. Darasimi squeezed his hand. There is always hope, Emeka. And no matter what happens, you'll never be alone again. As the sky darkened, the cafe lights glowed warmly behind them. It was more than just a business, it was a symbol of resilience, of love, and of new beginnings. And for the first time in her life, Darasimi felt truly at peace. The air was filled with the comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee as Darasimi arranged pastries in the display case. She couldn't believe how far they had come, from struggling to survive on the streets to running a thriving business. Every day felt like a gift, and she cherished each moment. Emeka, her younger brother, had settled into his new life with surprising ease. He had found a purpose working at the cafe, and his once hardened demeanor had softened. Watching him joke with the customers and work alongside their team filled Darasimi with pride. I never thought I'd see the day, Ifema said, leaning against the counter. You, Io, and now Emeka, all building something beautiful together. Darasimi smiled warmly. It's all I've ever wanted, a family, stability, and a place to call home. Just then, Io entered, his face glowing with excitement. Guess what? The local food critic is coming by this afternoon. If they love our cafe, we could get featured in the city's top magazine. This could bring in more customers than ever. Darasimi's heart skipped a beat. Are we ready for that kind of attention? Io chuckled. We've been ready. Now, it's time to show the world what we've built. Determined, they all jumped into action, ensuring every corner of the cafe was spotless, every recipe perfected, and every customer greeted with warmth. When the critic finally arrived, Darasimi took a deep breath and stepped forward. This was more than just a review, it was proof that their journey, their struggles, and their victories had led them to something truly remarkable. And no matter what happened next, she knew they had already won. Darasimi stood in the doorway of their cafe, watching as Emeka worked behind the counter. It had only been a few weeks since he returned, but he had already become a part of their lives. The once lost boy was now a man eager to build something meaningful. You're a natural, Io said, clapping Emeka on the back as he passed by. Customers love you. Emeka grinned. I never thought I'd be here. I owe it all to you, Darasimi. You never gave up on me. She smiled, touched by his words. You did the hardest part, Emeka. You chose to change. Just then, the cafe door swung open, and in walked an elderly woman, her face lighting up at the sight of Darasimi. It was Madame Ife, one of their first customers and a pillar in the community. "Ah, my children," she said warmly. "It brings me so much joy to see how far you've come." She took a seat, and Darasimi quickly brought her a cup of tea. "Madame Ife, you believed in us before we even believed in ourselves. We owe a lot to you." The older woman chuckled. "Nonsense. You too had everything it took. You just needed a little push. And now, look at you. A beautiful business, a loving family. What more could you ask for?" Darasimi exchanged a glance with Io, her heart full. "Nothing more, Madame Ife. We have everything we need." As laughter and conversation filled the cafe, Darasimi realized that her journey, filled with hardship and struggle, had led her exactly where she was meant to be. She had fought for a better life, and now she was living it. And this was only the beginning. The cafe hummed with life as the afternoon rush began. Darasimi moved with practiced ease, pouring coffee, arranging plates, and greeting customers with her warm smile. She had never imagined this life for herself, but now she couldn't picture anything else. Emeka wiped his hands on his apron and leaned against the counter. "We're almost out of the special pastries. Should I whip up another batch?" Darasimi nodded. "Yes, please. We need everything to be perfect today." Just then, the food critic, a well-dressed woman with an air of quiet authority, took a seat near the window. Io shot Darasimi a reassuring glance before heading over to welcome her. She watched as he spoke confidently, explaining the cafe's story and what made their menu special. Darasimi exhaled, steeling herself before approaching with a tray. "Good afternoon, We prepared a selection of our best pastries for you to try." The critic studied her, then the tray, before taking a bite. A moment passed in silence before she smiled. "This is wonderful. You can taste the love in it." Darasimi's heart swelled with pride. "That means a lot to us." By the time the critic left, they were exhausted but thrilled. The review would be published in a few days, but no matter the outcome, they had achieved something incredible. That night, as she locked up the cafe, Io took her hand. "We did it, Darasimi. No matter what happens next, we've built something real." She squeezed his hand, eyes shining with gratitude. "Yes, we have. And this is only the beginning." Darasimi stood behind the cafe counter, her heart swelling with joy as she watched customers fill the shop. The review had been published, and the response had been overwhelming. People from all over the city were coming to taste their pastries and coffee, eager to experience the warmth and hospitality that had been praised in the article. Io walked in, a satisfied grin on his face. "We did it, Darasimi. We've built something incredible." She laughed, shaking her head in amazement. "It still feels like a dream. But it's real, and it's ours." As they spoke, Emeka rushed in, holding up a newspaper. "Did you see this? Our cafe made it to the front page. They called it the hidden gem of Lagos." Darasimi took the paper, her hands trembling slightly. Reading the words, she felt a deep sense of accomplishment. All the struggles, the pain, the sacrifices, it had all been worth it. Just then, a familiar face walked in. It was Chief Olumide, the businessman who had once underestimated her. He looked around, impressed. "I must admit, Darasimi, you've surprised me." She smiled, standing tall. "I told you I was more than just an orange seller." He chuckled, nodding. "That you did. Congratulations, young lady." As the evening sun cast a golden glow over the cafe, Darasimi looked around at her family, her friends, and the life she had built. She had faced the odds, defied expectations, and come out victorious. And for the first time in a long time, she knew that she was exactly where she was meant to be. The cafe was buzzing with energy, filled with the sounds of clinking cups and cheerful chatter. Darasimi wiped her hands on her apron, watching Io take orders with his usual charm. It was moments like these that made her grateful for everything they had built together. Emeka emerged from the kitchen, carrying a tray of freshly baked pastries. "Sister, have you seen today's newspaper?" he asked, grinning from ear to ear. Darasimi raised an eyebrow. "No, why?" He set the tray down and unfolded the paper, revealing the food critic's review. "Look, a hidden gem in the heart of the city. Darasimi's Cafe is a must-visit for anyone looking for heartwarming meals and a cozy atmosphere. We made it, sis." Darasimi's hands trembled slightly as she read the words. "This is unbelievable. We really did it." Io leaned over, reading aloud. "From the moment you step in, you are welcomed with a warmth that is rare in the fast-paced world of today. The owners have created more than just a cafe, they have built a home for all who walk through their doors." Wow, they really saw what we were trying to do. Tears welled up in Darasimi's eyes as she looked around at her little family: Io, Ifema, Emeka, and the wonderful staff that had become their extended family. "This is just the beginning," Io said, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We've built something special, and now the whole city knows it." Darasimi took a deep breath, her heart swelling with pride. For the first time in a long time, she felt truly at peace. Their journey had been filled with struggles, heartbreak, and uncertainty, but standing there in the middle of the cafe, surrounded by love and laughter, she knew that every challenge had been worth it. Their story wasn't over, but they had finally found their happy ending. Darasimi stepped out of the cafe and took a deep breath of the cool evening air. The city lights twinkled, casting a warm glow over the bustling streets. She glanced back through the glass windows of the cafe, watching Io laughing with Emeka as they cleaned up for the night. Ifema was at the register, counting the day's earnings, her face glowing with excitement. She never imagined her life would turn out this way. From selling oranges on the roadside to owning one of the most beloved cafes in the city, it had been an incredible journey. A familiar voice interrupted her thoughts. "Darasimi?" She turned to see an older woman approaching, her face lined with wisdom. It was Madame Ngozi, the woman who had once scolded her for dreaming too big. "Madame Ngozi," Darasimi greeted warmly. "It's good to see you." The woman nodded, glancing at the cafe. "I had to come and see it for myself. I read the review. You really did it, child." Darasimi smiled. "It wasn't easy, but I had good people by my side." Madame Ngozi chuckled. "That's the secret, isn't it? Surrounding yourself with the right people." She took Darasimi's hands in hers. "I'm proud of you. And I'm sorry for ever doubting you." Emotion swelled in Darasimi's chest. "That means a lot, thank you." Just then, Io stepped outside, wrapping his arms around Darasimi's waist. "Are you ready to go home?" She looked up at him, her heart full. "More than ready." As they walked away hand in hand, Darasimi took one last glance at the cafe. It was more than just a business, it was a testament to her resilience, love, and the people who believed in her. No matter what the future held, she knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. Darasimi stood by the counter, her fingers tracing the edge of a ceramic cup. The cafe had become more than just a business, it was a symbol of resilience, of dreams realized despite the odds. She took a deep breath, inhaling the rich aroma of coffee and freshly baked bread. Io walked up beside her, handing her a cup of tea. "You okay? You've been quiet all morning." She smiled at him. "I'm just thinking about how far we've come. From selling oranges on the streets to this. It still feels unreal." Io nodded. "It's real, Darasimi. You made this happen. And look around, people love it here." Just then, the doorbell chimed, and Emeka walked in with an excited expression. "Guess what? We got another review in today's magazine. And not just any magazine, it's one of the biggest lifestyle publications in the country." Darasimi's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" Emeka grinned, waving the magazine in the air. "See for yourself." She took the magazine from him, her hands slightly trembling. As she flipped through the pages, her heart pounded. And then she saw it, a 2-page spread featuring their cafe, complete with glowing remarks about their food, ambience, and story. Io read over her shoulder. They called us the beating heart of the city's food culture. That's huge, Darasimi. Tears threatened to spill from her eyes. She had worked so hard, fought so many battles, and now, her dream was thriving in ways she had never imagined. Ifema clapped her hands together. We have to celebrate. This is a big deal. Darasimi wiped her eyes and laughed. Yes, we do. Tonight, dinner's on me. As the cafe buzzed with excitement, Darasimi looked around at the faces of the people who had become her family. No longer just an orange seller, she was now a business owner, a leader, and a woman who had turned her struggles into something beautiful. And she knew, deep in her heart, that this was only the beginning. Darasimi stood outside the cafe, watching the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson. The journey had been long, filled with twists she never expected, but standing there now, she felt nothing but gratitude. Io joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. We did it, he murmured. Everything we dreamed of, it's all coming together. She leaned into him, sighing in contentment. I never imagined my life would turn out this way. From selling oranges on the streets to running a successful cafe with the man I love. Emeka and Ifema stepped outside, laughter dancing in their eyes. We have a full house tonight, Ifema announced. People are still raving about the review. Emeka held up his phone, showing her the cafe's social media page flooded with positive comments. They're calling it the best spot in the city, Darasimi chuckled, shaking her head. Who would have thought? As they stood together, the warm evening breeze carrying the scent of freshly brewed coffee and pastries, she realized something. Happiness wasn't about where she started, but how she embraced every step of the journey. And now, with her loved ones beside her, she knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. The doors to the cafe swung open again, welcoming more customers, more stories, more dreams. And Darasimi was ready to embrace it all. The end. Moral of the story. 1. Hard work pays off. Darasimi's journey from selling oranges on the street to owning a successful cafe proves that determination and perseverance can lead to success. 2. Love and support matter. The people around us, family, friends, and loved ones, can make all the difference in overcoming life's challenges. 3. Embrace change. Life is unpredictable, but adapting to new opportunities and trusting the journey can lead to unexpected happiness. 4. Your past doesn't define you. No matter where you start, with resilience and belief in yourself, you can rewrite your story and achieve your dreams. Tell us where you are watching from and the time your watch says right now in the comment section. We would love to hear from you, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. New series are coming very soon. Subscribe. Feel free to support us by joining Zara Premium. Thanks.